Hello, my friends. Christopher Witecki here, taping live in San Francisco, California. And as you probably know, if you're watching my show, I'm up here visiting the Bay Area, getting to know lots of cool people. And I'm going to be launching this new little interview show because in my travels, I'm meeting fascinating people, and I think it's worth sharing. But you know, some of this is very high-minded, some of this is very spiritual and woo-woo and kind of off the map. So I'm calling this whole show On the DL with Christopher Witecki, because everything they talk about is on the DL. In fact, to watch this show, you got to be a registered site member. You got to come through my little back door because it's all on the DL. This is for people who are into this sort of stuff. Don't need it all over on YouTube. And I want to have people feel very comfortable, especially if I come to your town, especially if I interview you. I want you to feel comfortable that you're among family, you're among friends, and what we're talking about is on the DL. So in this first episode, I'm super excited to announce that I caught up with astrologer Kelli Fox. Kelli Fox is a master astrologer of 20 plus years. She's actually a pioneer on the internet. She started over 20 years ago, had one of the first astrology sites on the net, and probably to this day, one of the most successful. It was astrology.net at the time. You now know it as astrology.com. Astrology.com has traded hands several times since Kelli sold it, and she's come back to the web with a new website called theastrologer.com. And this focuses on her talents as an astrologer, giving you a variety of reports and a variety of different horoscopes. We'll give you more on that later. But the good news is I got to sit down at an undisclosed location in San Francisco with Kelli for over 2 hours. So we split this up in 2 different episodes. This first weekend, we're just getting to know Kelli on the DL, knowing about astrology and some of the private stuff she's gone through with her own personal chart and horoscopes and her own private opinion. Then, in the next weekend show, in kind of spirit of the Venus retrograde, Kelli and I sit down and talk Venus retrograde. We get into all the Venus and the signs, we talk what Venus retrograde is, and we share some experiences of our own personal Venus retrograde. So without further ado, please meet my new friend who is a Step 21 Leo, Kelli Fox. I'm with Kelli Fox in San Francisco. Hi, Kelli. How you doing today?
Hi, Chris. I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm liking the San Francisco weather. I like that it's July and we can wear pants still.
Of course. Poor tourists don't understand what it's like in California in the summer.
Yeah, no, they don't.
Well, in San Francisco. It's foggy and cold.
Yeah. And when does it ever get warm?
October for about 2 weeks.
For about 2 weeks, exactly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you do see San Francisco go crazy, don't you?
Yes, it's the Indian summer and we all get out into the parks and sunbathe.
Yeah. You see shirtless San Franciscans, which you never see otherwise during the year. I used to live here. I was married in San Francisco. One of my first incarnations.
Wow.
So I've been here for a while. How long have you been in San Francisco?
22 years on Wednesday.
Oh my God, but who's counting?
Exactly. It's all good. And it's funny because, you know, the new moon is on Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.
And it's in Cancer, which is about home and family and roots.
Yeah, exactly. And did you move around this time?
Yes.
To
Yes.
San Francisco?
Yes, yeah. I did. And I told my mother I was only going to be away for 3 weeks. And it's been 22 years.
What does she think about that?
I don't think she ever really got over that. She has Mars in Cancer, so she likes to hold on to things, not let go.
Yeah. Yeah, and have you ever looked up San Francisco's, astrology as far as why it might be compatible for you?
I had done that a long time ago, and from memory, I think I have a Neptune line running through San Francisco. So things are not always as they seem.
That's true in San Francisco, period. Anyways, don't take anything at face value in San Francisco, ever.
That's right. I won't comment any further on that.
No, but anyone who fears judgment should come to San Francisco because no one judges you here at all. You can be whoever you want.
Yeah. That's why I love it here so much.
Yeah. It's the most European, I would say, we have the United States, I would think.
Absolutely, yes. I love the attitude and the culture.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And you are obviously from Australia, and really you've been here probably as long as you've been practicing astrology. Over 20 years, you're a master astrologer.
Yes, that is correct. I'm accredited with numerous organisations. I studied astrology when I was a little kid and first started my studies in Sydney, Australia when I was a lot younger.
Yeah, that was my question. How old did you begin astrology, and what in your heart, what was that like inside?
I just remember growing up in the 70s when astrology seemed to have a rebirth, and Linda Goodman was a favourite, and I know a favourite of yours as well. And it was just all around me. And then I went to the College of Humanistic Astrology in Sydney, and I was blown away because I didn't even realise there was such a thing. And I had an awesome teacher, Alia Ryder, and he was just absolutely fantastic. And I became accredited there, then moved over here and realised when I started astrology.net, as it was back then, which became astrology.com, that having such a large following of people all around the world, I had to be responsible, so I became accredited here.
Oh, gotcha. In here in the United States as well? Wow. And I was curious, I mean, as someone who found the schools and went through the whole accreditation, what was your experience in these schools? How do they maintain their knowledge through these times? And what was the difference between the continents, you thought?
It's very difficult. It's not an easy process, but I persevered because I felt it was really important for the position that I was personally in. And I do recommend people become accredited, but it is a difficult process. A couple of the exams were 8 hours long each.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. It's like start at 8 a.m, you get 1 hour lunch break, and then it's an all-day process.
What kind of questions? It's like a tourist is on a bus heading west. Like, what kind of questions do you have?
Yeah, basically stuff like that. And I can't remember because it was so long ago. But it's quite nerve-wracking, an 8-hour exam. And then the others... Yeah, exactly. Wow. And then another organisation, it's like typically 4-hour exams and calculation, which today I don't know if I could really remember how to do all the calculations. That's why I rely on my software.
Yeah. And you developed software very early on, actually, to your credit. I mean, and she deserves this credit. I mean, this is how I actually know and honor and respect this Leo, by the way. She's a fabulous Step 21 Leo. She is fabulous.
What does that mean?
Well, it means, thank you for the segue. It means, and today's a Step 21 day. You realize the first day we met was the Step 21 day, and today's Step 21 day?
That's amazing.
It is. My moon's Step 21, her sun's Step 21, and I'm in Leo, so it's just the day when you finally come out of your shell. Like 21 is when you come out of your shell, and you were talking about your Mercury. I hope you don't mind before we tape. She's talking about her Mercury in the 12th, and I'd say Step 21 means you definitely plan to bring that Mercury out. 21 is where you start to have fun, as I like to say. The construction of it is I feel, which is a Cancer energy, plus Leo combined. So it's Cancer and Leo combined, which then adds to a 3, which means you'd become a teacher and a master student. So she's already in the beginning of this interview given that example. She's gone to not one but 2 organizations to be a master teacher. Cool. Excuse me. Thank you. Okay, name the other 2 just so we have it on YouTube record.
Okay, the first one, College of Humanistic Astrology, American Federation of Astrologers, National Council of Geocosmic Research, and International Society of Astrological Research.
Wow. And I think you should have a degree just for remembering the names.
I can't believe I just pulled that out of my head.
That was true Mercury. That was deep Mercury. That's
wow. Yeah, that's right. It is good for something, right?
It is. Yeah, it's working just fine. So, yeah, I love Step 21 people because it's the people who open the door. And, that's what you get credit for me. I was, at the time, when she started astrology.net, I was just experiencing the internet for the first time. I was coming out of college. I was doing readings for everybody for free, just for fun. And lo and behold, here's a person who was kicking it off and providing software on the internet when it was difficult to run charts. I think we all had those first matrix printouts, right?
Yes, that's right, with the dots. What do they call those printers?
Dot matrix, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So, yes, we had reports and chart wheels, and it was great times. Crazy, but great.
And then you got out on the internet boom and went off on a personal hiatus for a while.
Yes, I had a near-death experience in 2004 where 70% of my skin and mucous membranes burnt off, and we don't know what caused it. So I had skin grafts on 70% of my body, and I was in a coma for 2 weeks and on life support. It was absolutely horrendous. And at that time, astrologically, I had transiting Pluto conjunct my natal moon.
I was going to have had the question, like, what was going on in your chart?
And what that really means is it's the moon from hell. It's like emotions and how I felt, and my whole self was dragged through hell. Moon can also represent health, because it's your day-to-day life. as well as your emotions and feelings. So it was just being dragged through hell. And even the metaphors around Pluto and Hades, it all really fit that time.
Yeah, and it must have been, and with, I don't know, like, so your moon is in Sagittarius, it's at what degree? I forget.
17.
Okay, which is a person of knowledge as well, an authority of knowledge. I would say 17 is an authority of knowledge. Yeah, and it would just be my guess. Our moon, in my opinion, holds our emotional memories from our past lives as well.
Right.
So I think that...
Especially in the 4th, squaring Pluto.
Oh, well, 100%. Yeah, I mean, like, you can't get... For you, it's like so planted into the root, down by your ankles as far as, that karma. And Pluto was just like, I think you were forced to literally burn off every past life issue in one swoop.
Absolutely, I agree with that. I actually had a reading with an Indian astrologer after I got sick because I wanted to understand what it was from a different perspective. And sometimes you really can't read your own stuff. Yeah. So this Indian astrologer had said to me that I had agreed before I incarnated to take on the lifetimes of take a lifetime of 10 lifetimes into one. Whoa. And I had another reader say that I've got 2 lifetimes in one lifetime. And it has definitely felt that way. So getting that sick, it was sort of like you hit the bottom, so you have to start, from the very beginning, like start all over again. And that's how it really felt.
Truly a story of a phoenix, truly.
Yes, it feels that way. I have Pluto in the 1st.
Oh my God, yeah, and Pluto, that's why you're so, yes, okay.
So what?
A little hidden, I mean, she's very, like, she's this step 21 Leo. She's like this fabulous bright light, but like, you have to find it. It's like, well, it's behind a curtain, that's what it is.
I've got 3 planets in Virgo in the 1st as well, so I can be a bit shy.
She can, but she's got a biting humor also. It's very good. Yeah, it's great.
Oh, what's that from? I can't even think.
That's a Virgo, I think. I think Virgo throws reality at you in a funny way, yeah. But I was going to say that's the Mercury at 11. 11 is the healer, in my opinion.
Oh, really?
So I think you rebuilt yourself from scratch.
Yes, absolutely, and still continue to do that.
Yeah, and I would imagine the Western medicine, predicted doom, were you predicted to do well and recover, and you did anyways?
No, I wasn't predicted to recover or do well at all.
Yeah, they told you would die, right?
Yeah.
Pluto in the 1st, like you had to decide.
Yeah, in a nice way, but my daughter was 2, so that just was not an option. Yep. On some level, it wasn't an option.
Oh, yeah, I understand. I had the same issue. I was also hospitalized a couple of times, not with my skin, different issue. Well, yeah, it was an infection in my skin, past life, most certainly, yeah, that I think came from being impaled, from a past life wound of being impaled on a tree. So crazy. And sure enough, like, I ended up getting infection right where I had that past life memory. Over and over it came 3 times. And eventually it was like, all right, clearly God's not going to take me. I mean, like, I'm going to live, so just got to keep through. But I would say Western medicine was very pessimistic about my outcome. And so I felt like even in the hospital, I was having to teach.
Absolutely. You have to be your own advocate all the time.
Yeah.
You can't just rely on what the expert tells you. You really need to take that on and look at it from, as you just said, alternative views or past life regression. I had a few of those as well to help me understand. I also had a medical astrology reading, which was really fascinating because what came up a lot in that reading was asthma and lung problems, and part of the burning that I had, it burnt my throat and my lungs. Wow. So there's been issues around my lungs and eyes, really, which in, I think, Chinese medicine are connected.
I don't know, but that's interesting. Yeah. I know that I had it out. I ended up getting the shingles. I don't know if you noticed, but there's this big outbreak of the shingles in the United States, which I wonder if is man-made or really. But it's funny, but the shingles, horrible virus, by the way, to get chickenpox a second time. Yes. But it went across my back in such a crazy way. It was horrible, like I was on fire. And I got a spiritual healing later, and they told me that I had these past life memories working through of lighting myself on fire for Buddhism, which I kind of believe I might have done.
Really? I could sort of see you being really radical like that.
Yeah, I'm calmed down. This is the calm Christopher.
Wow.
We have to change now. Like, I don't know. I think I did. But I have a picture of it, which I will never show anyone, but it almost looks like I've been burned across the back. And I really felt like I was letting go of but it was part of the Sagittarius stuff, I think, too, which recently purged for me. It was Saturn and Scorpio. So Saturn and Scorpio was like for everyone a purge like that. But it kind of felt like I had to get rid of those memories of, religious persecution, whatever.
Oh, I totally get that because, my moon squares Pluto. I know I keep saying that, but it's like my moon squares Pluto. I understand that. Moon in Sag squares Pluto. Yeah.
If you didn't get it, folks, her moon squares Pluto. And I have a little secret question for you. Since we've both been hospitalized, did you pay attention to all the nurses and their signs?
No, because I was in a coma.
Didn't pay attention? Your higher self didn't ask? No, I was kidding. All right, that counts. That's fair. Well, you recovered. That's totally fair. For me, I was just, as I was recovering in the hospital, I was just paying attention to the nurses, and it was one Virgo nurse after another. That's why.
That's good. That's a good thing, though. You want a Virgo nurse.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
You don't want a Leo nurse.
No, you don't want a Leo nurse. They leave you hanging without the drugs, and the Virgo nurse is a little tough on you. Like, they tell you it's going to hurt, and it is.
Actually, I think a Pisces nurse would be really good. Yeah. Don't you?
Yeah, I had a Pisces nurse, and
really?
Yeah, I did.
She supplied you with lots of drugs and pain relief.
Well, the Virgo was funny. Like, actually, it's all about the drugs. I mean, in America, I don't know about where you were hospitalized. Were you hospitalized in Australia? Okay.
In San Francisco.
So, yeah, it's all about painkillers, and the nurses become like drug dealers, like, in a way. So if you fall out with the nurse, you're going to be in pain an extra 20, 30 minutes.
Yes, I've seen that with other people. Not myself, because as I said, I was in a coma. But it was like...
You were watching it yourself, I know.
I have seen it with other people. When you're rude to the nurse, forget it. You're going to be in pain.
Right. And especially a Virgo nurse. That Virgo nurse will come up with so many things to do.
Because they have so many... they're efficient, but they have certain rules and regulations that need to be followed.
It's so true, and that's the thing. So I was sweet too. I found out I always find the sign of the nurse, so I quickly do the math, no matter what drugs I'm on, and figure out what's going on inside them that day. And I'm like, oh, you're having a hard day, huh, baby? Blah blah blah, whatever. And sure enough, one Virgo nurse wasn't supposed to give me the pain meds, but she was like, here you go, baby. Don't you tell nobody.
We won't say what hospital that was.
No, it was in San Francisco. No, no.
I'm like, wow.
But my son was born San Francisco General, so yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. Wow, yeah.
I think a lot of interesting spirits come through San Francisco as like birth. I don't know if you noticed in charts.
My daughter was born here, yes. Actually, and you just reminded me, when I was in, this might be TMI, but when I was in labour, I was watching the clock, because what they do is put a great big huge clock in front of you on the wall, and I kept calculating the ascendant. And I had the chart in my head. Yes. Yes. And I had the chart in my head, and her due date was actually on Halloween during the full moon with Scorpio Sun Taurus moon. Wow. And I was sort of scared about that configuration, because I'm thinking, oh my goodness, how will I handle this?
As you're giving birth to like some sort of, almost like a creature, you think?
Yes, almost like a creature. I hope she doesn't watch this.
No, she wasn't. She's a beautiful soul. I met her. Beautiful soul. Yeah.
She's a double Scorpio. And so I was calculating like the time that it was going in the ascendant. So luckily the moon just scraped into Pisces. So, she has a 1 degree Pisces moon. That's right. And I was like, oh, thank goodness for that Pisces moon.
That's so funny. My son also has a Pisces moon, so I can identify. Total sweetheart. And the story there was my wife was was in labor, and the nurse called the time 2 minutes late. She was like, 9:35. I'm like, no, 9:33. And I was like, oh, sorry about that.
Same thing. The nurse, my daughter was born at 9:12 a.m. and the nurse rounded it to 9:10.
Oh, yes.
And I remember I was just lying there, and David was like, it's 9:12, freaking out.
That's why I was like, well, I was so impressed at 9:33. I was like, oh, you little show off. That's my boy.
Totally.
Yeah, I want those double threes, but I think it's the Pisces. I noticed like there's a lot of 11s and 33s and 22s with Pisces energy I've noticed in charts.
Really? Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
A lot of just things getting along super well.
But what do the double numbers mean? It's like some master number?
Yeah, exactly. So, 11 is Virgo, and Virgo is really when you've mastered Earth. So, of the Earth spectrum, Virgo is when you have gotten it all together, or not.
Really? Oh, or not. Okay.
Well, no, I think Virgos, I mean, what I teach Virgos is they need to be always in touch with what they have together instead of what they don't have together, because their whole thing is to see what is and what isn't. You know, their whole thing is to see the difference between what is and what isn't. And if your satisfaction is on what isn't, you'll never be satisfied. Your job is to always throw the best together in the last minute, step 11, to bring it back into integrity, where love is standing next to love, which is what one is, love, or Leo, you. Right?
Oh, of course.
Fabulous love.
Number one.
Yeah, always number one. And that's one of the things, when I was uncovering the step astrology, it took me a while to believe it, because I was like, no, Leo can't be number one. No, seriously, no. no way.
Who said that?
No, I mean, it was like, no, it was too obvious. Like, no way. Like, I believe
Obvious? Ask any Leo.
I know. And Scorpio is step 0. And that is so Scorpio.
That makes sense to me. Yes, okay.
Yeah, because Scorpios are like either there or they're not. They're very ghostly, like Obi-Wan. Like they're very, and that's the thing about Scorpios in relationships. You can use the numerology in the relationship. So if a Scorpio is added to a 1, now you're a 10. You can manifest, you know. If a Scorpio is added to a 2, a Cancer, they multiply the power of whoever they're with.
Interesting. So that means that if I have Mars in Scorpio and I have 3 planets in Leo, is that like a 10, or is it how do you do that?
Well, what you would do is you actually, each planet acts as the hone of that frequency. So the fact that it's coming from Leo would mean, or that it's in Leo, means that its intention is to serve that. So your Mars is what?
13 Scorpio.
What degree?
13.
Oh, 13. Okay, that's pretty powerful. And in Scorpio, too. So the way I look at that is your Mars, which is your aggressive energy, it is dedicated to the 1, which is loving yourself. That's true, the Leo. And 3, following your beliefs. All right. That's what the 3 is, to follow your beliefs. 3 is what you believe. And this, because it's in Leo, it's all according to the heart. So it's what you love according to the heart, Leo. It's what you believe according to the heart, because it's in Leo. That's how I would look at it. So it's these steps within, or with this root intention. I call it a root intention. So the sign is the root intention. And it adds to a 4, which is innovator or Aquarius.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
When you follow your belief. But if you shy back and don't follow your belief, then it can be breakdown, which is the other side of Uranus. I think Uranus either kicks you in the face or throws you up there, right?
Right. I have Uranus in the 1st.
Yeah, it's true, and that's probably your cute humor, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
You think?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I was walking. I'm a total Pollock, and I was walking through her house with my tripod, and I knocked 2 things, and she goes, "Oh, there goes the house." It was so funny. It was true. I was like, "Yeah, she knows. Get it insured."
Sometimes when I've seen comedy acts, I will heckle.
Oh yeah.
But I won't do it all the time.
Does your heart want to?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
But my Virgo holds me back.
Well, no, maybe this is where we're doing some on-camera work here. Like, maybe Mercury needs to come out, and that's the thing. It's like your Mercury stays hidden because you know that when it opens your mouth, you're going to disrupt.
Yeah, a bit too much. Absolutely. How did you know that about me, Chris?
Yes, but here's the thing. Your Mercury's in Virgo. I mean, like, it's 11 degrees. Well, it's in Leo. It comes from the heart, but it's at 11 degrees, so it's like in the integrity of Virgo, which means that I would coach you to go ahead and disrupt what's in front of you, because your mind will be able to fix it real quickly right after.
I see. That's actually what I do. Yes. That is correct. Yeah. Yes.
You're like, and they just fix it real quick, and everyone's okay. We're okay with that. We can live with that little truth.
Yeah, I can sort of skirt around things and fix it as I'm blurting it out.
And does your Uranus conjunct your Pluto in your first house? Okay. And Venus, too, so her ability to accept and receive. Well, you know what? Let's take a little break, and we'll come back and talk more about your chart. Sound good to you?
I know, because I'm turning it around to talk about my chart.
No, we can, though. She's a Leo. She's fabulous. And we'll be right back after this.